Catus Maximus here. This is a review and comparison of some various wire terminal removal tools. Lots of people, especially my viewers, work on cars as well as a variety of other equipment, machinery, do a variety of jobs, and many of them will run into situations where you have to remove wires from these plastic terminals. And some of them, like this style, where they're externally accessible, you can push down the little tabs. But many, like on automotive, industrial, CNC machines, etc., they're hidden like this, and so they can always be a little tough. And when you have a wire that's damaged or frayed, or you just need to replace it, you need to get the terminal out of there, and they can be pretty difficult. They actually make special tools for removing terminals or wires from those plastic housings. And we have a variety here. We actually have a couple little snap-on units, which are okay, but not the best. We have one from Daniels Manufacturing, which is a premium grade electronics tool company. And then we have some more kind of universal ones. We have this unit, which is actually from CarQuest, and has turned out to be quite handy. This is sold as a universal wire terminal tool. And then I have this like little 3-position screwdriver thing. It's actually for Colt revolvers, but it works very well for wire terminals. So we'll start off with the snap-ons here. We'll just go through these real quickly. The snap-on just has like a blade. So this is the idea, is to either be able to push in on the side of one of these terminals, where you can just push in and actually get the little terminal out pretty easily. And then we have another bladed type. To tell you the truth, I haven't really used these snap-on ones very often at all, but you know, every once in a while I will. A lot of these terminals, such as on these Molex connectors, are round, and so that's what tools like this are for, as well as that CarQuest I'll show in a minute. But here's the Daniels, and it's this little round tool that you would actually shove in there. Surprisingly enough, say on these computer Molex connectors, it takes a different size tool to remove the female ends than it does to remove the male ends. So if we wanted to remove one of the male ends, we would just take a tool like this, and this is a nice Daniels. It's riveted. This little U-shaped tube is actually a piece of sheet metal that's been doubled over, and a machined aluminum handle. These are, and like the craziest part numbers. Look at that part number for a wire terminal tool. Anyway, they do work well. You just put it down in there and you kind of wiggle it around and push all the little spring tabs, and voila, we can just, if this camera would focus, oh, there goes my wire. Here we go, and we can just pull that out. We can see that this actually had several different tabs, and it pushes them down nicely without folding them in too much. A lot of times they will get bent inwards, and they won't snap in real solid. So you'll have to use like a little needle or something to actually pry them back out. We have these tools, which I believe are wire terminal tools. That's what I've always used them for. Only one actually has a name on it, which is this one, the OK Machine and Tool Corporation, and there's a part number for it, UWD 9393. Oh, I'm sorry, this is actually a wire wrapping tool. I shouldn't have had that in this review, but we'll show that in a second here. But we have these tools, which have like a little fork, and this one has a little spike on it. And we have this one, which has like a half blade tool, as well as a little fork. I've always used these for terminals. They are blade terminals that fit in the little plastic housings like this, and I found these type of tools are good for getting on both sides of the blade and depressing those little catches. I forgot about this thing, but if anybody who watches works on old electronics, they didn't used to actually put the wire through the board and just solder it. All the boards would have these little metal pegs, and then you take the wire and it would be wrapped around real tight. And I've always wondered how they did that at the factory, and this is the tool that they use. They have both left and right versions. You put the little wire into this little tool, and then you twist it around, and it has a hole in the middle and a helix, and this is a little tool that will wrap the wire around the post. And I always thought it was kind of neat to pick this up, so might as well talk about it since I have it here. Then we have this CarQuest tool, which is pretty good because it has a variety of different, as far as automotive, and automotive terminals covers a wide variety of terminal sizes. So we have these different tubes. It's a real thin wall, long tube. And then we have some various diameters of tubes that go around, plus a couple different forks. To tell you the truth, I've never actually used the forks that are on this, but I have used the tube ones quite often, surprisingly enough. Now we have this other end of the Molex, which is the female end, and so I find that I actually need to use this tool to get these out. You just take the tool, press it in, kind of work it a little bit, and then the terminal will just pop right out because they are nicely sized. I've really found that once you have tools like this, that wire terminals become a lot less scary, because even if it's fatigued right here, we can pull the wire out, we can solder it to the back of the terminal, and then we can put it back into the plastic housing and actually have it work and operate like a factory unit. Plus, people are always impressed when all the terminals and the connectors look just like factory, and really you just had some particular tools that ended up making it a lot easier to work with those. Now, as far as the ones that are external, that's kind of what these little snap-on tools are good for, like this little poker right there, because with these you can just poke it onto that little tab, and there we go, and we can just pop that terminal out, and you can see the little bar. Every once in a while they'll get pressed in too far and you have to pry them back out so they'll seat properly. But that's generally how you work with these. These are actually kind of an interesting terminal. This is a power transmission terminal. So that was kind of the end of this basic review and introduction to wire terminals tools. They tend to be some of the most uniquely shaped, and when you see, you know, little snap-on tools like this, you think, are those O-ring picks? Or they're not really very sharp for O-ring picks. And things like this, which really just don't make any sense whatsoever to most people, is why is there this weird U-channel shaped tool, and why on earth is it built so well? These are actually wire terminal tools, and things like this, which, you know, really, if you didn't know it was a wire terminal tool, you would have very little idea what on earth something like this would be used for. It's very kind of unique looking, and it's actually pretty well built. And I did find this at CarQuest. They didn't put any markings on it whatsoever, which is kind of disappointing, because there's a lot of components to this. We can see those little steel tubes are machined. We have this machined piece of aluminum. The little dents here are actually where they've squished to lock or to seat each of one of these connectors into the aluminum body. But I was always surprised CarQuest just didn't put any kind of markings on it. Kind of odd. And to talk about this little Colt, I guess this is some tool that comes with Colt revolvers. I'm not exactly sure. I don't own any Colt. Anything, actually. This is the only thing Colt that I own. And I just find that it's like 3 different size slot heads. But I find when depressing these, it's really just a nice tool to do so, because it's so wide. You just have a really nice grip to be able to push that in there with confidence, with relative ease. So anyway, this was just kind of an introduction, and now when you kind of see oddball tools that look like these and don't, really have any idea what they are, now you do kind of have some idea what they are. They're wire terminal release tools. That's the word I've been looking for this whole video. They're terminal release tools. Anyway, I really appreciate everybody watching and subscribing. And if you haven't subscribed, please do subscribe to the Catus Maximus channel. Until next time, Catus Maximus out.